We're good now, Marge. We're on the roll now.
Okay, here we go. Where do you hear this class? Where do you hear this purport? Everyone will think Bhagavatam is something wrong with Bhagavatam. After they hear this must be some misprint.
Uh-oh.
There you go. Okay, Tas Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tasmad Jayanga Vaiklavyam. Jnanakritam Atmanaham Katam Tvanatam Kripana. Vataram Stejamam Vina. Yay. Therefore, give up your anxiety due to ignorance of the self. You are now thinking of how they, who are helpless poor creatures, will exist without you. So here, Vidura's talking to his elder brother, Dhritarashtra. This is after the battle of Kurukshetra, when everything, all the Pandavas were now taking the throne, and Dhritarashtra, all of his sons were killed. Now he is somewhat disenfranchised from everything. Purport: when we think of our kith and kin as being helpless and dependent on us, it's all due to ignorance. Every living creature is allowed all protection by the order of the Supreme Lord in terms of each one's acquired position in the world. The Lord is known as Bhutabrit, one who gives protection to all living beings. One should discharge his duty only, for no one but the Supreme Lord can give protection to anyone else. This is explained more clearly in the following verse. Om Gyanti Mirandasya Ginajana Salakaya Chaksun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimakti Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Name Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaudavani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Astyatya De Satarine Panchakalpa Tarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Pevacha Pitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnaveyo Namaho Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So in this world, in each of the successive sojourns that we come into this world, we take on a particular body. And because of having a certain type of body, we center our activities around certain other living entities who are connected with us, either as countrymen, family members, friends, or just people in general. Therefore, we develop relationships based on the body that we have. And we become a father, we become a mother, we become a friend, we become an employer, we take on so many different roles that come by way of having a material body and living in the material world. All these roles are adapted based on the body, has nothing to do with the soul at all. And therefore, in these relationships we establish, we think, well, I'm secure because I have this powerful father or this powerful country as my protector. Or we think I have this stable situation in life, and therefore I'm happy, I'm satisfied, I'm protected. But here, Krishna is known as Bhuta Brit, Utabrit is one of his names and is one of his protection to all living beings. So according to our position in this world, Krishna gives one protection based on that position and our relationship with material energy. And when we take up devotional service, then we get full and complete protection on all levels of existence. So Krishna is known as the one who gives protection. Therefore, sometimes he's called as he is the Supreme Father, Supreme Mother, the Supreme Friend, the Supreme Supplier, the not only Supreme Supplier, the only Protector, the only Provider. It's understood because on the bottom platform, Krishna arranges for us to receive protection or not to receive protection based on the relationships we have in this material world. But on the spiritual platform, when we take up devotional service, then we are under the Daivi Prakriti, the spiritual energy, and we get Krishna's complete protection in all places of existence. So here, sometimes persons mistakenly think, just like a person will have a disease, and the disease might be quite severe, so they'll get the best of all physicians in that category of disease management. And they think, now I'm in a good position to overcome this disease. But we see, even with the best physicians, the person will not survive. And even when the physicians are not there, if Krishna wants to give protection, then even if there's no physician, or even if an incompetent person takes the position of a physician, still the person will live. It's due to the will and protection of the Lord. There's an example we have in our Krishna consciousness movement where I think I told this story about a couple of weeks ago, but I'll tell it again, where we were receiving letters from inmates in jail. And this was right at the heart of the COVID pandemic, where many institutions were experiencing many of their members getting sick. And so one jail was like that. And so this one person who had been connected to us by writing to us and practicing Krishna consciousness, he was quite new. He wasn't like a seasoned practitioner. He hadn't been around for a few months, but he was chanting and reading the books. So he got quite sick, but because the jail didn't want to take any responsibility to do anything for the inmates who were sick, and they didn't give any cure to anyone. So he was thinking what to do. So he went into his own little cell and just started to chant and pray continuously. And after a few days, I'm not sure exactly how long, but after a few days, he was free from the disease without any treatment at all, without any care at all. We have another example, one other person who also got the disease, and he was taken care of in the best possible way, but for some reason he died. So here you can see from this, Krishna is the supreme protector. Therefore, one should depend upon Krishna in all circumstances, and that dependence is carried out by connecting with Krishna in loving devotional service. So let's go to the next verse, as it says here. The next verse will more clearly explain what is being said here.
Maharaj, if I may quickly interrupt, Maharaj, there are a couple of devotees are saying that they are having a difficulty with to hear you, and they're requesting if you can increase the volume on your end a little bit, Maharaj.
I'm not sure how to do that. Let me see here. By the way, I'll have to go to my escape route. Where it will, let me see what do we have here in the way of volume. Mhm. I don't see any volume.
Actually, when you come this close, Marge, it's so much clearer.
Okay, yeah, my volume is up to 100%.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Maybe I'm too busy with the computer. Okay, let us see the next verse.
Now it's so clear, Marge. Thank you so much, Marge. Sorry for interrupting, Marge. This is the next verse, Marge.
Yeah, I'll need a bigger screen for that one.
Okay.
I want to get back to a more
Well,
full spectrum. Let me see. Standard. Okay. Let me see, what do I need to do here? Oh, full screen. Okay, got it now.
Okay.
Okay, here's the next one. Karma kala karma guna dino dehoyam panchabaltikahan katams anyams to gopaya sarpagrasto yatataram. This gross material body made of 5 elements is already under the control of eternal time, karma, and the modes of material nature, guna. How then can it be already in the jaws of protection, jaws to protect others? Okay, so this is a little bit longer purport here.
Marge, would you like me to read the purport?
Um,
It's your choice, whatever you want, Marge.
let's see how long it is. Let's see. Yeah, go ahead and read.
Srila Prabhupada's purport: the world's movement for freedom through political, economic, social, and cultural propaganda can do no benefit to anyone, for they are controlled by superior power. A conditioned living being is under the full control of material nature, represented by eternal time and activities under the dictation of different modes of nature. There are 3 material modes of nature, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance. Unless one is situated in the mode of goodness, one cannot see things as they are. The passionate and the ignorant cannot even see things as they are. Therefore, a person who is passionate and ignorant cannot direct his activities on the right path. Only the man in the quality of goodness can help to a certain extent. Most persons are passionate and ignorant, and therefore their plans and projects can hardly do any good to others. Above the modes of nature is eternal time, which is called kala, because it changes the shape of everything in the material world. Even if we are able to do something temporarily beneficial, time will see that the good project is frustrated in course of time. The only thing possible is to be done is to get rid of eternal time kala, which is compared to kala sarpa, or the cobra snake, whose bite is always lethal. No one can be saved from the bite of a cobra. The best remedy for getting out of the clutches of the cobra-like kala or its integrity, the modes of nature, is bhakti yoga, as it is recommended in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 14, verse 26. The highest professional project of philanthropic activities is to engage everyone in the act of preaching bhakti yoga all over the world, because that alone can save the people from the control of Maya, or the material nature represented by kala, karma, and guna, as described above. The Bhagavad Gita 14:26 confirms this definitely.
1426. Yeah. So, you'll see that there has been political, social, economic movements in the world since time immemorial, and the material world hasn't gotten any better. So no one can do anything on the political and with the politics and all of this economic and social and cultural change. Everything is controlled by the hands of the superior power, as it's mentioned here. That superior power is the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who works directly according to the conditioned soul's activities in the material world. So unless one engages or comes to the platform of goodness, as is mentioned here, and then from that platform elevates oneself to the next stage, which is sattva-guna, or pure goodness, which is ultimately devotional service. One is under the influence of the time energy, and time brings about, moves things along, and destroys everything in due course. So, therefore, no one can exist in this world, and no one can ultimately stabilize anything that is permanent, both for themselves, for their relatives, friends, and relationships, and for people in general. Therefore, the best path of success for oneself and for others is to engage in devotional service, which is above the three modes of material nature, therefore above the effects of time. And therefore, when one engages in that, then one is no longer under the influence of the time factor. We have a nice verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam, if you could go to that. It's this second canto, third chapter, verse number 17. 2, 3, 17. Let's see. Yes, okay. Ahor haranti vaitim sam udya astam chayana. So, Tashyate yat janolita utamastaka vajaya. Both by rising and by setting, the sun decreases the duration of life of everyone, except for one who utilizes the time by discussing topics of the all-good personality of Bhagavatam. So we have the example of Maharaj Parikshit, who was cursed to die in 7 days to be bitten by this vicious toxica, which is a flying snake who had poisonous venom. This snake was a mystical snake. It wasn't just an ordinary snake. And Maharaj Parikshit had completely, after hearing for 7 full days from Sukadeva Goswami in a place called Sukaratal, where the speaking of the Bhagavatam was given, in those 7 days he absorbed himself in the narrations of the Bhagavatam and the explanations given by Sukadeva Goswami. After hearing and questioning, and he became fully self-realized and was completely detached from his body and everything in the material world. All his desires and connections in the material world have been dissipated by the power of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the glories of Krishna in Srimad Bhagavatam. So then Taksaka snuck in, unbeknownst to everyone. He disguised himself as a Brahmana, this snake, and he came into the area where Maharaj Parikshit was, and was surrounded by many other persons who were taking care of Maharaj Parikshit while he was in meditation in his final hours. Takshika came in and bit him. He turned himself from a Brahmana into his actual form as a snake, bit the king, and then he burst into flames and his whole body was destroyed in ashes. But it says in this narration, as it's described in this particular Leela, that he wasn't even the slightest bit disturbed about what happened, either being bit or being surrounded by flames. He was completely transcendental, didn't feel even the slightest discomfort. And when the body was no more, he entered back into the spiritual world. This is the power of pure devotional service, or the power of complete absorption in the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this whole material world works under the influence of time. The time is simply an energy of the Lord, and Krishna is above time. And those who engage in devotional service to the Lord actually are above the influence of the time factor. Just like it says that for a materialist, the topic of death becomes something that they strictly avoid. For the spiritualists who are fixed in devotional service, they like to hear about the temporary nature of the world, and their ascent back to the spiritual world when their body is no longer functioning. So it says for a materialist, in order for materialists to find happiness, or a kind of happiness, which is a false sense of happiness, they have to forget about death. Otherwise, they cannot be enthusiastic for their material plans. If an axe is hanging over your head, how can you be very enthusiastic to make arrangements for happiness in this world? So they forget about that. Or they don't want to hear about it. Or they act like it doesn't exist. It's called the ostrich philosophy. When the ostrich sees danger coming, he sticks his head into the hole in the ground. Because he doesn't see the danger, he thinks the danger doesn't exist. But one cannot do that with the element of time, which moves everything along according to the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The time factor is compared to a sheep herder who is herding his sheep from one pasture to another. He's moving the sheep along, and eventually he moves them to the process of elimination. So in the same way, for a devotee wants to remember that this world is temporary and I am eternal, and I can achieve the eternal realm by engaging in activities which are connected with the eternal aspect of existence, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhakti Yoga. So that verse from the Bhagavad Gita, which was referred to in that previous verse, is that one who is engaged in full devotional service does not fall down in any circumstance, and once transcends the modes of material nature and comes to the spiritual platform. So this is the means by which way one can entangle oneself from the horrors of material energy, represented by the time factor. Sometimes people think, well, everything is okay now. Yeah, but wait a few moments, wait a few days, wait a few weeks, few years, or whatever. Things will be different. And in the material world, everything goes down. So no one can enjoy in this world. No one can stay in this world. No one can find satisfaction and happiness in this world. One has to use whatever time is available to engage in devotional service, and therefore prepare oneself to enter into the spiritual existence. Tattva deham purna janmani 19 mami Arjuna. The realm of eternality, the realm of total happiness and full transcendental knowledge, which is never lost and always increasing. Okay, so we get a little insight here about Dhritarashtra and his situation. Vidura is giving him very sanguine instructions. And your body's getting old, it's rotten, your teeth are falling out, your eye, you can't see straight anymore, you can't even walk properly. And you're still hanging on to this material world like it's everything. So old age is a reminder, a very strong reminder that soon death will come. And to take that same principle to its ultimate understanding, old means just before you die, and no one knows when that time will actually come. So therefore, one should be very serious and take up engage enthusiastic in devotional service, especially as this verse here says, hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord, the rising and the setting of the sun has no effect upon such persons. In other words, they live eternally. Right.
Thank you so much, Marge. This is such an amazing, deep class. Would like to ask devotees if any questions, any comments. I will stop sharing so that we can ask questions. And if you can please turn on your videos, that would be very much appreciated. Yes, Mother Sri Devi, go right ahead. Hari Hari.
Thank you. Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Guru Maharaj, for reminding us how urgent and serious it is to become Krishna conscious. Why that opposite protecting one, the Supreme Lord who is protector, still parents have the duty, the master, the mother, the father, like that. Everyone has a duty to protect their dependents, especially saving them from the cycle of birth and death. So how we can understand that, how to carry out our duties, understanding that it's Krishna ultimately who's doing everything, but at the same time, not use this verse as an excuse to escape our responsibilities.
Well, what is that responsibility? Yeah, it says that the parents should guide and protect their children as they grow up. The husband should give protection to his wife. The army is supposed to give protection to the citizens. So all of these are elements of the energies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead for protection. But ultimately, it is the Supreme Lord who makes the final decision of who is protected and who is not protected. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you see an example where there is a fire and one house is on fire and the next house next to it doesn't get caught on fire, but the house next to that house gets caught on fire. So it would be logical to think that the houses would get caught on fire, but in other words, providence is supreme, and providence is the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So one should make, what we say, arrangements in order to live in this material world, but ultimately, depending on the Supreme Lord is the ultimate arrangement. So we have to do our duty in response to each other, but one should understand that only my duty, the success of my activities, is the mercy or the intervention of the Lord. Prabhupada would always say, a physician cannot save a patient unless Krishna allows that to happen.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah, behind the scene, behind the activities of everything is the hand of the Supreme Lord. And for the non-devotees, it's karma, And for the devotees, it's Krishna directly. And karma is just one of Krishna's energies anyway.
That was my question, Sri Devi. You read my mind. Thank you so much. I guess we were doing some telepathy right there. Thank you so much. Wonderful question. Maharaj, as you were answering, just want to piggyback on Mother Sri Devi's question. When you were speaking about answering a question and you were saying, you know, it's the will of the Lord to protect or not to protect. And then you said for non-devotees, it's karma. And for devotees, it's Krishna. And at the same time, Maharaj, how sometimes I come across situations where, you know, devotees say, oh, it's Krishna's mercy. Well, whatever, you know, just do it, right? Just taking the Lord's name in vain. How can we not take the situation for granted, thinking the Lord will take care of it, whatever, even if it's in the mood of like kind of like a selfish mode, you know, like how can we be intelligent not to use the Lord's name as vain, as they say?
Well, Arjuna was on the chariot, and Krishna was also there. Krishna is the supreme power in existence. But still, he told Arjuna, you have to fight. But he told him, your fighting is not the cause of victory or defeat. It's my will. So therefore you have, in other words, we have to act. And sometimes we use this understanding that the activities we perform have to be done in a proper way in order to bring about the mercy of the Lord. And I want to qualify how karmis are under the influence of or non-devotees are under the influence of karma. So does that mean they're relegated to the results of their karma? Yes and no. Yes means due to their activities, whatever situation they're in has led up to where they are based on their activities and their desires. But if they find themselves in a difficult situation and they sincerely pray to the Lord can intervene in the lives even of the non-devotees and make a difference. I was just looking at this little video where one person, they were talking about the present situation with COVID. So this one man, he went to the hospital and he had COVID and it was very bad. And they wanted to give him certain medicines, but he knew the medicines weren't going to work. They were even worse than the disease he had. So he went home, but he was having trouble breathing. He was having trouble. He was struggling for his life. And as he describes it, he felt like I was drowning. So in that moment of desperation, he started to call out to Christ. He was a Christian in a very sincere way. And then he heard the voice of the Lord say, I'm not done with you yet. And the Lord grabbed him and picked him up, and he was immediately above the sufferings. And then just a few hours later, someone came to the door with some medicine that was perfect for curing his COVID, and he got completely cured. So here's an example of one who was struggling. He called out for the Lord's mercy, and the Lord came. So it's not like, you know, the Lord is oblivious to people in the material world, but unless they actually depend on him, call out for him, for his mercy and pray in that way, they're usually left to the results of their own karma.
Thank you, Marge. That was really amazing. Yes, Sri Devi first, then Namrata. Go ahead, Sri Devi.
I just want to ask a little bit more about this incident, Guru Maharaj. So even if that non-devotee doesn't even know who is God. He doesn't know whom to call out for, but in his heart, he just says, Dear God, dear Lord. Even if he says, like that, Krishna in the heart will hears that prayer. Is that correct? Even if they do not know who is God.
Well, the soul knows who he is. The soul is connected with Krishna all the time. So we see even an avowed atheist will call out to God in a very difficult situation and may also receive some mercy. Because Krishna is in the heart of all living entities. And he loves all living entities equally. It's not that he loves the devotees more than the non-devotees, except he gives them special treatment because they depend on him and they worship him. It's like a father who has many children. There are some children who don't have any regard for the father and simply do whatever they want, whenever they want. And the other children are always dependent on the father, serve the father nicely. So the father will give more attention to the good children, or the ones that are more obedient, because it's natural. But at the same time, his love for all of his children are equal.
Very nice. Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Absolutely. So nice. Yeah, such a nice food for thought. Thank you. Yes, Namrata, please go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisance. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to your holy feet, all glories to the assembled devotees. It's really nice to see you all after so many days. So I was anyways missing all of the association. Guru Maharaj, we see in the purport that it is said that activities done in the mode of passion and ignorance are not really, a person cannot direct it properly, but a person in goodness can do it up to certain extent. So I would like to, if you can elaborate a little on this, because I'm just a little confused that the person in goodness, how do they, go, they, I don't know how to say, but how do they work out with this, and what is the missing factors for them?
Well, you have to understand what are the characteristics of each of the modes and how these characteristics are displayed by people in those modes. The person in the mode of goodness is, he has knowledge, he has religious sentiments, he or she will be tolerant, he or she will be somewhat detached from happiness and distress. So they are exhibiting the characteristics of the activities of the devotee. Although there is no devotional service, the characteristics are there. So, and based on these characteristics, they are more inclined to act in the proper way, because they see, it's like, for example, you're looking at a mountain from a distance, and when you're very far away and you see the mountain, it looks like a big gigantic cloud. So, and that's how you see it. You can't distinguish it's actually a mountain. But when you go closer, you see that it's actually a mountain. And then if you go on the mountain, you will see that there's activities and there's living entities on the mountain. So depending on your purview of the same item in three different ways, you perceive it differently. So a person in the mode of goodness is more free from the ignorance and illusions that come by way of passion and ignorance. They're able to see things more clearly, properly.
So here, Guru Maharaj, we are talking more about devotees, but does this mode of goodness include the pious people as well?
What people?
Pious people.
What people? I don't understand that word.
The
She said,
piety.
she said pious people, Maharaj, the pious people.
Oh, piety, mode of goodness is piety. Yeah. But some people are not fully in the mode of goodness. They might be pious, but they also may have a strong desire to make material gains. So they're mixed with passion. So you can't say that someone is goodness, passion, ignorance. The modes are mixed. And very rarely you'll find a person in pure good, just in goodness, without tinges of passion and ignorance. That's where we're at.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Thank you for this elaborated answer. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, there is a comment here by, I'm just going to read this, from Nrsimha Leela. Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. I found this beautiful comment of Srila Prabhupada regarding Sri Devi Mataji's question, how to connect the following comment. He is Paramatma, present in everyone as a supreme guidance, and therefore he is already the chariot driver and counsel of all living beings. To me, it sounds really intimate, just thinking of Krishna's love for every living entity. So if you can help me understand it better.
Yeah, well, it's what it is. He's in your heart and he's guiding you. And when you turn your attention to him, then you can perceive his voice or his message to you, which means turn your face away from this material world and develop your attraction to me by gauging in my devotion and service. So it says, when the mind and senses are fully controlled, the super soul is already reached. So Krishna is there constantly speaking to us, but are we able to hear it? That depends on how free your mind is from the modes of passion and ignorance. People in the mode of goodness are more inclined to be able to connect with their inner voice. People call that the inner voice, or the good consciousness. But actually it's Krishna within the heart. But that same Krishna within the heart becomes easily connected to by accepting the spiritual master, which is the external manifestation of Krishna within the heart. When one follows the instructions of the spiritual master and makes advancement, then gradually they can also hear Krishna within the heart. Krishna is always reminding you what you want to do and how to do it. He's doing everything. He's fulfilling your desires according to the quality of your desire. If you want to be a devotee, but you still want to enjoy this material world, he may also give you some instructions how you can enjoy this material world in such a way that you get smashed and you'll stop enjoying it. But if you become persistent and you ignore Krishna's words, then he says, all right, go ahead and enjoy. Come back when you're tired and you're done with it.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Yeah, very practical. Thank you, Nrsimha Leela. Thank you. Very practical. Yes, Raj Prabhu, please go ahead with your question, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to you, Maharaj. All glories to all of the Vaishnavas. Maharaj, was hearing what you were saying, and it seemed a little unfair to, like, for example, the souls that are on the path, they're getting so much reciprocation, and the poor souls that are in darkness and they don't know where they're going, and it's just like they're walking into brick walls because they're not going, and their head's bleeding and their face is bleeding, and everywhere they turn they're just walking into brick walls, and they have to learn in a very hard and painful way. It just seems here's a very loving father. Krishna's being a very loving father, but whilst he's being very nice in reciprocation to the devotees, those poor unfortunate souls that are just in so much pain and hurting, and they don't know their way out. It just feels like,
well, if they're fortunate, they come in contact with a devotee, and then they can use their life. And therefore, it's our duty to spread Krishna consciousness far and wide. But then there's others who continue in the same way, thinking that if I just do it differently, then I'll get a different result. They don't know that the material energy is superior to their arrangements. Therefore, they're under the influence of their material energy. So it's not so much their activities, but it's their desire that locks them into the suffering. Because they want to enjoy separately from the Lord, they're given the opportunity, and they continue on. Maya lavase kacho base kacho habu dubai. Life after life, they're thrown. Kardanum guna sangha so sarasa joni janvasi. They have to traverse the different levels of the material existence, higher planets, lower planets, middle planets, never finding any stability in any situation they're in. Material desires means unhappiness. As long as you have a material desire, you always will be unhappy, because you can't satisfy that, and even if you do, it is only temporary, and it'll be destroyed very soon. So the material energy is a prison house, and there's different levels of prisoners. And there's the prisoners who don't obey the jailers, even when they're in the prison, and they get beat while they're in the prison. These are the people you are talking to, walking into the brick walls. Although they're in a place of suffering, they're still trying to make arrangements to enjoy in that place of suffering. And they become disobedient to the laws of material nature, disobedient to the principles of devotion. And if they continue in that way, then they even fall lower. There's no limit how low you can fall. As there's no limit on how you can go, there's no limit on how low you can fall. You can become a worm in stool for thousands of births. You see a little worm crawling around looking for a piece of stool to find some satisfaction. That's a pure soul in that body of a worm, and that has been placed in there because of whatever reason. So imagine that. You can't imagine that. There's just no awareness of anything, but just practically a useless existence. But the soul has pure love for Krishna, even in the worm of the stool, but still cannot realize it because of its situation. So the person becomes somehow fortunate to meet a devotee, come in contact with some transcendental literature, they may be able to change their destiny and move away from the sufferings of the material energy.
Thank you, Maharaj. Maybe that's why we have devotees in the world, because they can display more compassion to save them all.
Devotees are the mercy manifestations of Krishna in the world to uplift the conditioned soul. They're Krishna's direct representative for compassion and freedom from material suffering.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you for the nice question, Prabhu. Mother Namrata, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Maharaj, I wanted to share an experience, just recent experience. So recently I was in a family wedding, and I mean, in these days, I was little away from the association of also God family, your association. So in the wedding, it was really, I can say, I felt a lot of negativity, and it was as if people running towards hell, their consciousness was affecting me. I don't know what was there, but I just wanted to contemplate that, is it my weakness that is that I'm getting this kind of intuitions, or is it
You can talk to Sri Devi. She just had a similar experience. So, there's two online here. She'll tell you exactly what you're telling us. And the names have changed, but the activities are the same.
So I wasn't able to differentiate, Guru Maharaj, that is it because I tasted a higher taste, or is it my own weakness that is, affecting?
No, when you experience something better, something higher, something natural, when you go back to the other, then you automatically feel disturbed and unhappy and out of place. Yeah, it's just natural. It's just like, there's an old saying, the greatest moralist is a reformed prostitute.
Guru Maharaj, please pardon me. Would you please repeat that?
The greatest moralist is a reformed prostitute. She's been to the lower levels of degradation. Now she's out of it. And therefore she sees her previous life as simply something ugly and most undesirable. So it'll be like that. You won't be able to associate with non-devotees anymore as you start associating with devotees. You will want to get out of that association.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. I think that was the word was a little hard, but yeah, that's a fact. But yes, definitely I can feel that. Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah. People tell me, well, since I joined this Hare Krishna movement, when I go to work, I don't have any enthusiasm for my job anymore. A few months back, they were working hard and trying to get ahead. Now, after practicing devotional service, they feel somewhat distasteful towards their previous material activity. That's automatic. That will happen because the higher taste is there. And that taste will only increase, where one will see everyone in the material world is simply wasting time and destroying their lives, no matter who they are, whether they're great, powerful politicians, great philanthropists, or whoever they are. A spiritualist will simply see them as just dancing dogs to the material energy. Everybody, not just a few people, but everybody. They'll see everybody in the same way. Just fools, controlled by ignorance. So keep going in devotional service and always look for the association of devotees. Prabhupada was talking about that just yesterday. He was really emphasizing how important it is to associate with devotees. How everything comes by way of devotee association. How one can feel satisfied, happy, and elevate their consciousness in association of devotees. Association with non-devotees is worse than poison. Even Lord Chaitanya has said that. What is that verse? If I can find that verse, the first verse is, the first one is, let's see. Spoken by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Niskinchanas. Niskinchanas is the first word. Can you look up that Niskinchanas? Wait a minute, get my, maybe I can get my verse book.
Niskinchanas, Maharaj, you said? Niskinchanas. Okay, I think I got it wrong. Niskinchana. Okay, it's not picking up.
That's the first word. That's the first word of the verse, Niskinchanas, yeah.
Maharaj, do you know how to spell that, Maharaj? Because I think...
Yeah, I'll give it to you in a few minutes.
Sure, Maharaj. I can wait. No problem.
Can't seem to locate it. Niskinchasya Bhagavan. The next word is Bhagavan. Niskinchasya Bhagavan. Jiktasur is one of the words. Ha hanta, ha hanta. Really a powerful verse. I'm surprised I can't find it.
Oh, Maharaj, I think I found it. I'm sorry, Maharaj. Is it a nectar of devotion? Niskinchanasya Bhagavad Bhajanon Mukhasya? That one?
That's it.
Okay. I just got to find the verse that I just found it in a lecture that Srila Prabhupada said. So let me see if I can find the verse. And then I will search that. Okay, where is my fancy thing on this one?
What's the first letters of the word?
Niskin. That's what I have.
Yeah, I'm surprised I don't have it.
Srimad, it's in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya-lila 11:8.
No wonder, okay.
Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya-lila. Okay, let me go there. Madhya-lila, chapter 11, verse 8. Where are you? Okay, Krishna, where is it? 11? Okay, there we go. Okay, March, I'm going to share that now. I think it's this one. Is that Maharaj?
Okay, Niskinchana Bhagavan Vajo Mokasya Parantaram Digamasar Baba Sadasi. Sadarshanam Vinasana Atayoshi Tamchaha Hanta Hanta Visha Vaksano Pyasadu. Okay, the translation. Read the translation.
Greatly lamenting, the Lord then informs Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, alas, for a person who is seriously desiring to cross the material ocean and engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord without material motives, seeing a materialist engaged in sense gratification or seeing a woman who is similarly interested is more abominable than drinking poison willingly. Hare Krishna.
He enunciates the principles for sannyas renouncing the material world. Spiritual advancement is not meant for men who are crossing the ocean. And so here. Yeah, so I think the verse is spiritual limes at stopping the repetition. Yeah, you go on in that particular purpose. So he's saying, and seeing a materialist engaged in sense gratification, or seeing a woman who is similarly interested, is more abominable than drinking poison willingly. So Prabhupada quotes that verse quite often.
So Maharaj is I'm reading this translation 2-3 times. So what your Prabhupada is saying is seeing a materialist, meaning seeing another person who is a materialist engaged in sense gratification, or seeing a woman who is also interested is worse than drinking poison.
Yeah, totally.
Hare Krishna.
Mhm.
It's pretty good.
That's Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, I mean, if you're there at a wedding and everybody's enjoying their senses, yeah, listen, for a person who is fixed in spiritual life, it's the most abominable situation to be in.
So, Guru Maharaj, I mean, should we avoid this kind of circumstances? And if such circumstances are not avoidable, then what can we do at this time?
You're asking me. I can speak from my own position. I would be out of there before I even got there.
Okay.
Yeah, this if you are serious and you want to remove yourself from such a situation, Krishna will help you, give you the intelligence and the ability to get out of there or to remove yourself from that situation. Because you will go down, there's no question about it.
Yes, Kamal. I still managed to cut down the days somehow by the mercy of Krishna and mercy of you, Guru Maharaj. I mean, your mercy. But still, I mean, 2 days I couldn't avoid it, and that was really heavy. So yeah, I'm thinking sometimes what to do at this time. Yeah.
Just take a vacation, go to the store, and don't come back until it's over.
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Do something.
I felt this when I was chanting also. So I was really thinking that definitely this kind of situation affects. So I was just trying to contemplate on this. But yeah, thank you for this elaborated answer and some suggestions which you give. I'll keep in mind. Thank you.
Parijata.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, Danvat Pranam, Danvats to everyone. Yes, whatever Namrata Mataji just said, I will share my experience as well. Whilst we were in GEV, my brother-in-law from the US had come to India along with his family after 8 years. And we were expected to attend some party that they had thrown for their son. And it was Ekadashi. And these are heavy duty meat eaters and drunkards. So they had organized a party on the, I think it was the eve of Ekadashi or something. So all our relatives, about 200 of them, they all went. We decided not to go. Of course, there was a backlash. Of course, there were things that were said, but we stayed firm on what we believed in and we didn't go. And later, some relatives told us that you did right by not going there. Some people had actually fasted that day. They were fasting. They had to attend the wedding and they came back abusing your mother-in-law and all the rest of the family for keeping this party on the day of Ekadashi. So this was not good. So I think Krishna then saves you because we took the decision. It was my husband's sibling whose party it was. And yeah, be firm on what you believe in. And these people, I tell you, they will understand someday. And we thought that maybe he will get upset or something, but I think he also understood that it was Ekadashi and they didn't consult with the pujari or the pandit, whoever they talked to, and he didn't guide them. So yes, we got to stay really firm, and I know what Namrata Mataji is saying. And also the verse that was just Maharaj, just whatever the verse you just mentioned, 11.8 cc, that seeing these people is like drinking engaged in material engagements, and it's like drinking poison. Yes, I know, I understand, because usually what happens in North Indian and all these parties, marriage parties and these weddings, they drink a lot. There's a lot of if the family is not vegetarian, then there will be all sorts of meats and non-vegetarian food, and also people drink a lot. So we as devotees, even sometimes we have to go. What I do personally, we just mark our attendance, give the gift, and just get out of that place as soon as we can. We don't stay there because it's really difficult to see someone eat these kind of foods in front of you, and if they're drinking and then they misbehave and then they do all sort of things. So yes, it's really difficult, but then we should take a stand and protect ourselves from this, because this can really affect our consciousness and our, what do you call, the aura too. It disturbs, the negative vibrations can disturb. So better chant, and like you said, stay away. This is what we were doing in Mumbai. We were keeping away from them. So yes, it worked in my favor. Thank you, Bharat.
Thank you. That was a nice testimony. Yeah, we have to live by principle and not live by convenience or someone else's ideas on how we should live. We live by principle. If you live by principle, intelligent people will respect you. If you live simply to pander to whatever people want you to do, you have no stability anyway. And we also, we have Krishna behind us, so Krishna will protect us. So yeah, what Parijata said is right on. It's hell, to put it in one word.
Maharaj, there's a question that I would like to ask on behalf of a devotee who's actually at work. So his question is, initially I was detached in work, like I used to work less enthusiastically today I was thinking that I am able to donate some Lakshmi because of job, staying in devotee association because of the job. Then I got a bit enthusiastic at work. Is it that I'm losing taste in bhakti?
You were just misled by some idea. Nobody needs your money. We need your bhakti. That's what we need, not your money.
Yeah, this devotee, yeah, he was losing taste in work. Then he goes, oh, well, I can use this work and my salary and donate Lakshmi to the temple and being with the devotees. And then now he's getting a little bit more enthusiastic at work because he's thinking, oh, so I can use my work in whatever earnings I get and use it in service. But at the same time, he's losing, but at the same time, you know, he's torn between, okay, am I being attached to my work because I can use my salary in Krishna's service because I can be with the devotees? So he's wondering.
That's all right up to a certain point. But then again, Krishna doesn't need all of that. So is being enthusiastic in your work bringing you up or bringing you down in your spiritual practice? Are you seeing Krishna in the work and you're doing your work as a way to stabilize your life and at the same time to serve? Or is it just something that you're attached to and you're attracted to? Or is it just some kind of necessity that you find yourself forced into? Whatever the situation is, we have to Krishnaize the situation. But if we're seeing that material gain is a way to serve the Lord, and we're not seeing correctly, because Krishna doesn't need anything. People think that I have to be more successful in the material world so I can get more things, and then I can use them in Krishna's service. That's Maya whispering.
Thank you, Marge. Let me see.
The idea is that your material life should be going down, your spiritual life should be going up as time goes on. If you're not forward in spiritual life, then what is the value of whatever you're doing? Therefore, your material responsibilities are supposed to support your advancement in Krishna consciousness and not take away from it. And that's an art you have to learn. What is that art? To be detached from everything material, but to use material things in Krishna service. But if you're attached to it, then you're in the material energy. You're being controlled by the material energy.
Maharaj, can we, if working for a job is a necessity to maintain the material needs, can we switch the necessity of the job to Krishnaize it?
No, go to Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, second chapter. I believe it's number 10.
1, 2, 10, Maharaj?
I think it's 10. It's in that area, but I'm thinking it might be 9 or 10. Let's see.
Okay, 1, 2. Okay, I am going to share this.
Prabhupada loved this verse. He quoted it quite often. He said it's one of the more important verses in the Bhagavatam.
This is 1, 2, 9, Maharaj.
You know, it's not that one.
So then I'll go to the next one. This is 1, 2, 10, Maharaj.
No, it's not 11. Go to 8. Maybe it's 8.
Go to 8. Okay.
The word Haritoshana is in the yeah, here you go. I think
Okay.
No. 1, 2, 8.
Is this it, Maharaj?
Yes. Dharma Swastika Vikshva saying the occupational activities a man performs according to it are only so much useless labor if they do not provoke attraction for the message of the Supreme Personality. Yeah, that's one, but I'm looking for another verse. This is similar. Go to the word Haritoshana is the last two words in the verse.
Hari,
Haritoshanam.
okay, let me see if I can search it. Hari.
Right in that area, just go to the different verses.
Oh, okay. All right, Marge, I'll do that.
Number 12 or 13, maybe.
Okay.
Let me see.
Nope.
No,
Okay.
there it is. Okay.
Okay.
Vijastresa Vanarsham Vibhagasya. Sanustatasya Dharmasya Samsiddhi Haritoshanam. O best among the twice born, it is therefore concluded the highest perfection one can achieve by discharging the duties prescribed for one's own occupation according to caste, divisions, and orders of life is to please the supreme, is to please the personality of Godhead. So all occupational duties, according to one's varna, and should be done as to please the supreme personality of Godhead. Prabhupada emphasizes that there. He says the aim must be to please the supreme personality of Godhead. The institutional function of human society is known as the Varnashram, which is quite natural for civilized life. So whatever occupation you're doing, it should be done as a service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that will elevate your consciousness to devotional service.
Thank you, Marge. I just told this devotee the same answer. 1, 2, 13. Any other questions? I'm going to stop sharing so I can see devotees if they raise their hands. Any other questions from devotees? Any other clarification? This has been such a nice discussion with so many questions and comments and sharing. I love it. It's so nice. And Rajesh Prabhu says amazing verses and points there to March and devotees. Yeah, amazing verses. Any other questions from devotees? Any thoughts and reflection? Trying to see if there's any more questions that I'm missing here. There's some chats coming through. I'm trying to keep up with it. Okay. Marge, since there are no more questions, Marge, would you like to end with one round of chanting, Marge, or if you have appointments, that's also fine. Whatever suits you, Marge.
I'll return in a minute.
Thank you, Marge. No problem.
Okay. Just one comment on that.
Yes, Marge.
On that section in the second chapter, the first canto, If anyone seriously wants to understand practically the whole science of Krishna consciousness and all the aspects connected to execution devotional service, I'd suggest you read and try to understand verses 1 to 6 all the way up to 1 to 21. Everything is there, and along with most elaborate and very, what we say, clear explanations given by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. 126 to 1221. And you can find the whole science of bhakti very nicely explained in that one section there. And the essence of that is from 1 to 16 to 1 to 21 is the essence. But those verses before that sets the stage for this more higher knowledge that's coming with the later verses.
I just posted that in the chat, March. 126 to 1221. Okay.
Everything is there.
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Jai Sri Krishna, Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita, Gadadhara, Srivasadi, Gaur Bhaktavinda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare. Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare. Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare. Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare, Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hari Ram, Hari Ram, Ram Ram, Hari Hari, Hari Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hari Hari. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Sri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai.
Thank you so much, Maharaj, for joining us for this amazing class. And thank you to all the devotees for joining us. Vancha Kapribhyascha, Kripa Sindho Bevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
His Holiness Candramauli Swami ki.
Jai.
Madan Gopal ji, Madan, very well.
Hare Krishna.
The
Jai
rest
Guru
of
Maharaj,
today.
my obeisances to you. Jai Prabhupada.
Very Prabhupada, nice to see you. Can you send me your wife's phone number? I keep forgetting to ask her for her phone number.
Yes, I'll send you on WhatsApp.
Yeah, she's volunteered to do a little service, and I need to connect her with some devotees.
Sure, Guru Maharaj.
She's
Thank
having
you.
a nice-
I'm glad you.
She's having a nice time.
Yes, that's so nice that you connected with her. Thank you so much for spending time with her. That was really inspiring.
She's very happy here. She really likes it.
Yeah, it's amazing that you both are there. I wish I was there with you.
Yeah. Soon the Sangha will happen.
New Vrindavan, Krishna willing.
Yeah. Madan go willing.
Hare Krishna.
Okay. Thank you very much, my businesses.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much for a wonderful class with such one wonderful discussion. Thank you. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Sadhu Sangha.
Jai. Hari Hari Bol.